spring concert featuring the Patriot winds, the symphonic winds, the Patriot strings, and the symphonic strings. I'd like to welcome to stage one of our student interns, Sophie.
continue, once the kids stop scooting their chairs around, we're going to continue with our symphonic and Patriot strings class. The students have been doing a great job this year. We've worked on some really challenging music, and I hope that you enjoy. Our first piece is going to be conducted by a young student, Jared Morris, fabulous young musician who's going to be going off to Towson, a major in music education next year. So very exciting. But we're going to start off with our concert mistress.
think that was the quickest we have ever done that. That was pretty impressive there that we got that switched like that. So after the concert, our wind ensemble and chamber orchestra friends, we have a QR code up here for you to sign in so you can get your grade for coming to tonight's concert. Everybody else, or everybody, on the program, there's a yard sale this weekend. It's on page 21. The yard sale is Saturday. We're accepting donations from 2:45 to 7 o'clock on this Friday. And yes, we put floors in my barn today, and they cleaned it out, and there's a whole bunch of stuff coming up here, so I'm excited about that. I'd like to first recognize our seniors. If you're a senior tonight, stand, please. Stand, please. Thank you. I would also like to recognize our seniors who are going to major in music. Okay, Jared and Colin are both going to be education majors. Sophie is going into sound technician, I'm probably wrong on that, at Georgia Tech, and the other seniors are majoring in performance. I cannot think of, I would honestly, in a few years, be so proud to have Jared and Colin teach. If I were going to have another child, which I'm not. Yeah, but I would be so glad for them to teach my child. I am so proud of all of them continuing into music, getting, if not full scholarships, close to full scholarships at some premier universities. So our music majors, stand or raise your hand. Yeah. So now I'm going to brag a little bit about your children, our student musicians. First of all, we've had a stellar year. The marching band was undefeated all year until the end, where we came in second place, but they did a phenomenal job. We gave an awesome winter concert. We had more people in all-state ensembles. We had more people than anybody in the state of Maryland go to All Eastern. We took 6 ensembles to District Festival, and all 6 earned all superior ratings. There's not another school that took 6 ensembles, and there's not another school that earned superior ratings. They're giving a fantastic concert tonight. But the most important thing is the maturity and the growth they have made as young people. All those, yeah, please give them. Sometimes the month of April and May, and they're just sort of sad because all of a sudden they grow up, and it's like, oh wow, you know, and it's just awesome. So parents, we thank you for supporting them and allowing them to be in our program. On page 18 of the program, there's an upcoming events, and I had to write this out because I would never make it through all this. I'm going to say there's no other instrumental music program in the country that in a single semester, which is next semester, is premiering a commission work. 2 years ago, I submitted the wind ensemble to WBDI, which is the Women Band Directors International. There were 50 submissions, and they chose our wind ensemble to premiere a piece in October. So congratulations to those students. As soon as we premiere that piece, the next week we're taking the marching band to China for 14 days. So congratulations to those students. And then in about 6 weeks after the China trip, the orchestra, the top orchestra, was selected to go to represent Wootton High School, Montgomery County, Maryland, at the Midwest Band and Orchestra Clinic, as well as Robert Frost's top orchestra. So bravo to all of them. I will humbly share with you that not even the best funded programs in Texas or in the Midwest are accomplishing what your children are. They truly are not. There's no one else in the country that's doing what these students are doing. So bravo, students. So this kind of support doesn't happen in isolation. It's only possible because of the incredible support from you, the parents, the dedication of our middle school and elementary school private teachers team, and most of all, our students' passion, perseverance, and talent. Thank you for believing in this program and what music can do for you. I'd like to also say on Thursday night is our senior awards and senior recognition. That concert begins at 6 p.m. 7 p.m. It's written right there. And the jazz band concert is tomorrow night at 6 p.m. in the Commons. This is a personal note, and I really had to write this one out. I will be honest with you, this year has been the most challenging, and yet in so many ways the most rewarding of my teaching career. I've taught 30 years. There were moments I truly didn't know how I'd keep going, but I did. And students, it's because of you. First of all, to my family who stood beside me, sometimes behind me, sometimes in front of me, and loved and supported me. I couldn't do it without you. To the parents of our students, the patrons of the arts, Wootton PTSA, thank you for your trust, your letters, your presence, and your unwavering belief in the importance of what we do. Your support was felt in every email, every kind word, and every time you showed up, not just for your child, but for all of us. To my colleagues, Carolyn, Andrea, and Scott, and especially Carolyn, because there were some dark moments in our office, and she had to listen to a lot, and she stood beside me, not only as a colleague, but as a good friend. It reminded me of why we work, why we do this work, and carried me when I couldn't carry myself. I'm so grateful to be surrounded by you who lead with heart and integrity. And to my students, especially you, thank you for your strength, your light, and your music. You reminded me why I chose this path in the first place. Your resilience, talent, and joy pulled me through. You gave me purpose when I needed it most. I will never forget this year, not because it broke me, but because of all the people who helped put my career and my life back together. I am forever indebted to you. Thank you so much. We're ready for Pirates of the Caribbean. Patriot Strings, stand please. Patriot Strings. Stand up please. Stand. Patriot Winds. Symphonic Strings, Symphonic Winds. Bravo for a great concert. And so, because tonight's not the last concert, we don't have to clean up tonight. So that is the great thing. And notice what time? It is dinner time. Thank you for a great, great, great year. We appreciate all of you, and thank you so much. Have a great rest of the night.